Hey guys, welcome to another exciting edition of Thinking and Drinking. This week, Levi, AJ, and I all sit down and talk about our thoughts about E3. AJ goes on a rant about his living situations in the military, and I freak out about VR. I don't know why. I was completely sober, but
Then maybe that's why you end up with higher scores.
That's like, I'll be honest, like, I actually pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
really
same here.
do.
Yeah,
I find them actually pretty on point most of the time.
especially
and if you don't,
the general consensus thing.
yeah, if you don't agree with like the higher ups, I guess if you want to say it, the film snobs, you have the audience vote too, which you know what I mean. Like you can kind of bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoy that.
I pretty much stay away from all those aggregated.
I don't.
Sites. Like
I mean,
that.
that's
like,
that's the only one I follow. Like,
because I'm the exact opposite of how most people treat reviews. Like most people are like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bottom and like look at the score so I know if it's good or not.
Oh, that's not why I do
and
it.
and they have to be completely objective and like they can't like, oh, you didn't like this. I like the editorial style of reviews. I like
that's
hearing,
what they are.
like people's opinions, but I don't like the score part of it. Is what I'm saying.
Well, then ignore the score. Like they have all the like snippets of all the things.
But here's what I'm saying, because like. Because I think that way about reviews, like I tend to gravitate towards certain people that I know that my tastes line up with. Like I watch Movie Bob on all my movie stuff because I know that for the most part
Yeah, but he doesn't do on every movie. Granted, I love Movie Bob. I've been watching a lot of his shit. Yeah. Although I will say, what's his deal with X-Men lately?
Yeah, he's really pissed off about X-Men.
Dude, like
he
made
4 videos about how much he hates X-Men.
and he just came out with one today, and I was like, okay, we get it. The Phoenix Saga was one of the best X-Men stories of all time. We get it, but we know that movie sucked. We know the next one's gonna suck. Why are you so mad?
Well, this one was cool because he kind of went and like he talked about.
He actually talked about the comics.
You know, he talked about like what made it good.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, guess what? This lady is a giant killer space god. Well, giant killer space gods happen all the time in comic books. Not really that big a deal. But like, he goes into like how it was like. He's steeped in like weird 70s sexualization.
Well, really, his point of the movie, the video was that the journey is what makes the Phoenix good, not the climax. Yeah. And movies always just want to focus on the character development. They want to focus just on the climax, which climax. You got Avengers, you got all the, who gives a shit? Like buildings exploding, giant Firebird,
Roland Emmerich stuff. Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a great video, but I'm like, dude. We get it. X-Men sucks. Move on. I respect your opinion. I truly do.
3 weeks on it, too.
Yeah, I was just like, come on. It's super weird. Okay, by the way, just to go on the Rick and Morty thing, I don't know how Cinema Blend, thank you, our new sponsor. Well, I don't know how well this is like, but it says that it's going to come out way sooner, expected in 2016.
Ooh.
Yeah. So thank you, Connor Schwerdiger. For that info. Hopefully it's true because I cannot wait for that to come
Hopefully that's not like The Last Guardian is coming out this
or the Final Fantasy. Yeah. It's like, man, I don't know how excited y'all are. Speaking of Final Fantasy and E3 in general, I don't think we're going to talk too much because I mean E3 was 2 weeks ago now, and there's a million people out there talked on it.
There's a couple interesting things.
But yeah, there's things like I want to talk about like how things. But I've been playing Bravely Default, which is. I mean, it's Final Fantasy by a different title. Yeah. And goddamn, it's so good. And it's kind of got me hyped for the new Final Fantasy, even though I know it's completely different. But just that world and that type of gaming, and I'm just super excited.
When Final Fantasy is good, it's like...
Oh, yeah.
But when it's bad, it's like toxic bad.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
Well, what made me like Bravely Default so much is that it is... needlessly complicated because there's 28 classes.
Oh my god!
That you level up job. So there's a job class leveling up system and there's a regular leveling up system for your 4 characters. So you level up a job class and there's 28 different ones, and then you have a sub job class. So once you master your main class, you can switch to another class and have two classes that you can use. Skills from one class and the other class.
You already lost me?
It is so complicated. Dude, it's so good. I mean, it's amazing.
I did hear good things about it, though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, good game.
I have no idea how I could possibly fit a game that size into my life right now.
Oh, it's portable. That's the only, if this is on system or something, there's no fucking way.
That's my problem with the new Final Fantasy. It's like, that looks really cool and great. No idea when I would ever play.
100% I still haven't finished Witcher.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way. Literally the only reason I'm able to play Bravely Default is because I can play it at work when it's slow or something like that. Like, legit, if it was on a console, no goddamn way. I mean, I think when you have a career or a job or something that, you know, you're older. If you're over 25, you actually have to pay bills. Like sitting down and spending 150 hours like I did in Skyrim or something like that, and probably more than that. You know, how do you do that?
I somehow got almost 100 hours into Fallout 4. But
That's impressive.
Yeah,
because I think I beat it. I beat the main. Well, beat it a relative term, but I beat the main storyline. I think I beat it in 70. I want to say
70.
But even then, and that was during like a break, I think, from work.
Well, and it's like I've gotten progressively, and that was like last year, and I'm amazed at how much busier I am. Just like 5 months, like
every year you get busier.
It's just like
and
what
busier.
the fuck? Like I just yesterday beat Doom. I started playing that game.
I
at
haven't
launch.
beat it yet.
Like I just now beat it yesterday, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like I used to kill these things like a weekend.
That's why some of the things released at E3 look like they're fun, but they're manageable.
Yeah.
Like Ukulele.
Yeah.
I, for one,
Ukulele
and
looks
my
great.
wife is too, because she
Yeah.
loves Crash. She loves, you know, all the kind of like find item type things. I do too.
Collectathons.
But this one just, collectathons. Like, man, I'm so excited. And I was worried that it was only for PS4, but I looked it up and you told me the same.
no,
It's
it's
for
on
everything. It's all
Everything. It's
consoles.
coming to Wii U even. So
Yeah.
really cool.
So I'm really
The
excited.
only thing coming to Wii U.
it's got
That might be, well, you got Zelda. Come on.
Well,
now.
yeah, but that's coming to NX too, and I'm going to just ignore the fact that it's on.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I thought you meant, I thought you were taking a stab at Nintendo.
Oh, NX
I'm surprised
is so
that it's,
interesting. It's like, what are they gonna do with that?
I still stand by my words of last podcast that I think they're going to knock it out of the park. I truly do.
You believe in them?
I don't
Yeah.
think Nintendo doesn't fuck up twice in a row. They don't. They have it in the past, and I'm gonna ride with that.
Well, where are you putting the bar for fuck up though on it? Because
I think it'll be Wii levels of successful.
oh, that's big success. Pretty
Yeah,
successful thing
I
they've
think it's
done.
going to be on par. I really do.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, I don't know about that. I'm thinking GameCube. Like
GameCube was still successful.
It was, but it was a third place console.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. That's what I'm hoping for.
Hey, can you kill that spider?
Oh, hey, spider.
Yeah, just smash the fuck out of it. Yeah, take that. Sorry, I hate killing insects, but Nicole's
spider snuff.
well, Nicole's going to. She's gonna be all freaked out.
Dude, my entire barracks room right now is infested with a little army of like silver dollar sized spiders. Like not little spiders, like
What
big
the
fucking
fuck?
spiders.
That's lovely.
dude.
It's like I just got.
Okay, spiders don't really bother
No,
me.
they don't.
But that would be a little
Well,
worrisome.
not even that bothers me. Like spiders, I'm
Yeah,
cool
but if I saw multiple ones, I would
Well, 'cause
be a
I-
little freaked
there's one
out.
in my bathroom. Like Jesus, holy crap! There's 5 on the ceiling.
Yeah, you
you
don't
kill
see
those
spiders
fuckers.
in hordes. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely not.
that
When
would
I
be a
train
little
them
disturbing.
to become, yeah.
Yeah.
When I train them to become my army,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you see those videos of somebody smashing a spider, and then their armada of the tiny spiders come
Oh,
out.
Jesus Christ.
That
Oh,
shit
man.
fucks with me. I'm like, no.
I like spiders.
no.
Even that is like the most terrifying
yeah.
thing in the freaking world. But like, not to turn this into how much barracks life sucked, but like. It's one thing after another with that place because I just got rid of the roaches. I had
Right,
roaches for a
I remember
while.
that.
Wow.
Yeah, I got rid of the roaches.
And before that was the no heat, or was it no AC?
Yeah. I spent 18 months in my barracks room with no heat.
Okay, but you have to realize we're in Chicago.
No, we're on the lake in Chicago.
It's fucking cold here.
It is absolutely freezing. For 18 months, the only thing producing heat in my room was me. And I used to sleep in my jacket. And I would go to the front desk. I'm like, I'm pretty sure my heat's not working.
It is a tiny ass room. That is the one thing,
Yeah.
one saving grace of that. If it was a bigger room, you would have died. Like, let's just be real. You would have fucking died.
And I'm right in the corner of the building too,
Yeah.
so the wind comes off the lake.
man.
And there's
into my
windows on
window.
both sides.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
it's pretty.
'cause I would
shitty.
go to the front desk. I'm like, hey, I need someone to come look at my heat. I'm pretty sure it's broken. And like how my barracks room is broken up is like I have the bedroom and I have a common area out front with the bathroom and like a little sink in it and stuff.
with a goober as your roommate.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different story we'll get to later. But like, the man would come in while I'm gone at work. He would look at my thermostat and go in the common area. Oh, thermostat says it's fucking 72 degrees or whatever the hell it is. Cool, and he'd leave. He would never come in my room. He would never do any of that. The only reason I got it fixed was I was on the night shift, so I was woken up when he came in one day, and I'm like, hey, come in my bedroom.
Fix that shit.
He's like, wow, it's really cold in here. And he's like, I'm not supposed to open up this. You're supposed to call like the contractor to open up the heater, but I'll look inside real quick. He's like, oh, yeah, you're missing like this whole part. Like there was like an entire like miniature engine inside my freaking heater that was not there for 18 months.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
And
It's like a mechanic from a shitty movie came out. You're like, oh, there you don't need that anymore. And it's like starts throwing parts out.
Yeah, exactly. I remember the first time I brought my girlfriend to the barracks, and she walked down the main hallway, and she's like walking on the carpet and it's like squishing because all the pipes in the ceiling are leaking.
Oh,
and then
God.
the ceiling tile will rot out, and then it'll just all fall on the floor. It's like living in a housing project, but yeah.
I don't miss those days.
No, I should just get married and be able to move out because.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So many people like do that shit in the military too. Like they'll get married and after knowing someone for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
or
that shit's
something.
whack.
Yeah.
For the record, that is not me.
No,
just go ahead and strike that
you
from the record.
You actually knew your wife, but like,
Yeah.
I remember being in Texas and like, you get out of boot camp. Getting out of boot camp is a little bit like getting out of prison, because you're just all pent up and you get out and you have 2 months worth of paycheck that you like were not allowed to spend.
Right. So you just have not an insane amount of cash, but to some people, like there's a lot of 18-year-olds that just came out of high school,
and they have like
they've got
$2,000.
Yeah,
Like,
they got
what the
4,000 or
hell?
5,000,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my god, dude. I don't want to make this a podcast about military life, but I remember
Hey, we gotta talk about this at some point.
my fucking roommate in A school. Like you go through A school, there's sections of school. So imagine A school like freshman year, where you get the basics of whatever the fuck you're gonna do down. Okay, Levi.
Yeah.
And like, so my roommate there was this like wannabe Aeropostale model. All he did was lift weights and like find random chicks. He was a frat dude in the military.
Sounds like a cool guy.
He had, something. I shit you not. He spent probably around $1,200 on sunglasses, like 3 different pairs of Ray-Bans. And I'm looking at him like, why? He's like, so I have a selection. I'm like, you're a fucking tool. Like, you are a fucking douchebag. And
man.
there's so many stories like that.
You make about $21,000 a year too.
Yeah, it's not like we
yeah.
make shit for money.
Yeah. So like you don't make that much money to spend like literally over 1/20th of your entire gross income for a year on sunglasses.
And we're in these tiny rooms that, like, the rooms in A school were about the size of...
How about the podcast space?
Close to this.
Yeah.
And you would have guys that would buy, like, 60-inch flat-screen TVs.
Yeah, and just like jam it up on top of their
It would
desk.
it would take up the entire wall. You're like, what are you fucking doing? You're only here for, like, 4 months.
Well, like, to get back to the point I was making about marriage, is like, you have all this money, you're all wound up, you're in a new city, you can take the cabin and get drunk and party and all that kind of stuff, and you meet someone who's the exact same amount of pent up, and like you've known them for 2 weeks, like, oh, I love
you.
this person so much because everything's cranked to 10.
And we've been through everything. We know the same things. We have money, and I'm horny as fuck. And we're married.
And then your
oh
school,
my
but then
God.
your school's only what was it 8 weeks for us that first
I
school?
want to say it was like 3 months or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like
That's
that.
yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, and then you're going to Japan and you're going to Florida, and like, oh no, this person that I love at a 10.
Right.
And then you get married, and so
That's why the divorce rate in
same
the military is
place.
so well. One of the
Yeah.
reasons. And you got Jody, which you know about Jody.
Which one? What?
So the thing in the military is if you get split up like that, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, don't worry, Jody's got him taken care of, because Jody is both a female and male name,
Yeah.
and it's who your significant other cheats on with.
Oh yeah,
And there's Jody.
There was so much of that too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's everyone cheats. It's fucking insanity.
Yeah,
It's
in the
just
military, like,
fucking-
and I think that's kind of like where that culture and where that feeling comes from. It's like, oh, I see everyone cheating, so if that person leaves and goes someplace else, then they're going to cheat too. Like,
Right.
It is kind of a real poisonous culture like that.
That is.
Yeah, but
Anyways.
yeah, but so it's just
It's hilarious. It's a whole mess.
yeah.
So E3.
E3. Oh yeah, let's get back to that.
So what do y'all like? What did you like from E3? Like,
what did I like?
what really got your attention? Grabbed you by the balls?
You know what? This was simultaneously the least surprising E3 I've ever experienced. Like, we called so much of that.
Yeah, we were actually pretty damn close.
Yeah, we were pretty
on a lot
good
of
with it. And like, I think the only thing we got wrong is we predicted the wrong studio for that Spider-Man exclusive game. Because remember we said Sucker Punch? That was a rumor?
Yeah.
And it
that's
turned out to be Insomniac.
So
What else have they done? I know that.
Oh, they had Ratchet and Clank. And
That's
all that
right,
kind of
that's
stuff.
right.
they also have a
Anyway.
VR game, and I don't know. They used to just do Ratchet and Clank every couple of years, and now, like, just the past year or so, they've there's a lot of games on the horizon that they're working on. It's suddenly they've expanded to all these different genres. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle the Spider-Man game, at least.
Well, they need to take some of those people working on other projects and put them to use fixing that ugly ass uniform they got Spider-Man wearing right now. That is the worst Spider-Man outfit
Well, that
I've
was
ever
beta
seen.
footage. I mean, stuff like that can be changed. It's textures.
Do you remember when they
and-
first announced Infamous 2? And that character had a complete redesign. He used to be
Yeah.
bald, and he had hair, and everyone got so angry. And then, oh, never mind, he doesn't have hair anymore.
Yeah,
like I really want that, but for that white spider on his chest. That the weird Captain America color scheme they got working for him right now. It's hideous.
I don't mind the white spider. What I don't really care for are the spider cleats that he's got going on, and the
I do.
and the excess of
I
like
saw
white.
those too.
He's got like these like white gloves, kind of like the white goes onto his hands and everything. That looks weird to me. It's just a bit too much with the white, and like the way that the uniform kind of is split up into sections kind of looks a little too.
It's very busy.
I don't. It doesn't really feel like.
Because then
I don't know.
Spider-Man's kind of like a onesie. Like,
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
it was
yeah.
designed, it was kind of like a one-piece thing.
I really liked in the movie how like they went like really hard back to the Dicko looking suit.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Yeah, and then they kind of go the opposite way for this. But regardless of how ugly that is, that game does look cool
Yeah.
and interesting. And the stuff that Marvel's
Still,
saying,
it's-
like this is the first of many to come, sort of thing. Like that's exciting to me. Like they're gonna make a big hard push to like build
Yeah.
a video game.
Yeah,
universe.
that
Play
is
like
awesome.
a Hawkeye game and like aim. It's like Call of Duty, except you're
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye. That'd be cool. I'd be
Exact-
down for that.
On that subject, this is not my idea. I saw it someplace else on the internet. I can't remember exactly where I saw it, but Marvel has an unannounced Telltale game coming. If that was like a Matt Fraction Hawkeye game,
If it was, yeah,
that would be amazing.
that's the only way I would play it.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
It won't do
I
that,
think
though.
that's something that Telltale needs too, because that would kind of give them an excuse to play with that kind of tired visual style they have now. Because I'm kind of wore out that they all kind of have the same sort of flat, rounded cell shade thing. They have done nothing to sort of expand or
Right.
to put any sort of uniqueness to any of the ways.
The only one that
presented.
made sense on was Borderlands because that's how the fucking game is.
Yeah, but
Which
yeah,
I was like, that looks cool, but I never understood the other Telltale games. Like, why? Like, especially,
well, because the first one was Walking Dead, and it also made
But
sense for
Walking-
Walking Dead
it
because they're
didn't,
trying to.
though.
Well, no,
Among
because they're
Us
trying to
2,
set it in the
it kinda
comic book
fit.
universe. Yeah.
I thought
All right,
that
it didn't
was
make sense to me
powerful. Among Us
'cause-
was great.
the visual style and that, like, it was this really serious story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't take it seriously. I haven't played them. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to, like, call out anything here, but I'm assuming it's a really serious storyline, correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How am I supposed to take it serious in cell shading? Like, it made sense in Borderlands. It's a goofy fucking universe.
I think it worked for what they were going for
Yeah.
initially. They need to retire it. I think at this point, or at
The
least like
engine
make
is
each individual
sloppy
game
at
looks.
this point. It just feels
Yeah.
old. That's the problem.
It was sloppy when it came out too.
Yeah,
though.
the-
It was
So
always kind of a.
Has the Fallout problem.
Yeah, they haven't updated it to any significant degree to where like the latest Telltale game looks just as polished as the first one, and which is not very.
How many? It's been a lot of years after, so
Yeah.
that's not a good thing.
No, but like if they had something where they could do like that weird David Aja style to their game,
That'd be cool.
and like kind of
would be
make
very
the
cool.
the presentation and interface.
It could
lead
still be.
away.
Whoops, sorry.
Yeah.
It could still be shell shaded, but instead of the thick black lines, have like your shirt. Like you
Yeah.
see, instead of black lines, as like a dark purple.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's how that entire comic was.
Well, yeah,
It's
yeah.
super. Let me try like pastel colors and monochromatics and
Yeah.
stuff. Be super cool. Like
I'd be super into
That
that.
set a really cool tone.
Yeah.
I would love that, but I they won't do that.
I don't think they're going to because they have
don't
that.
either.
They have that copy paste. Like those games are good. They're incredibly well written. I'm not gonna shit on them too much, but it would kind of get like that plug and play feel out of it because it's like take property, put in engine, game comes out. Like 'cause that's what kind of starting to feel
Kind of
like
what
right
they
now.
that's what they
Yeah.
seem like to me.
Yeah.
And I've never even played one,
Yeah,
so
so-
I mean.
But between that Spider-Man and the new and that new Marvel one for Telltale, like that's a great
That hasn't been
start,
announced
yeah.
what it is.
No, it's a Marvel property game.
Right,
So-
yeah, that's all it is.
And that would be kind of an easy thing to do if you're going to make an Avengers game, because like they've always had a hard time with that because there's so many different power sets and stuff. But with Telltale, you could just kind of tell an Avengers story.
Marvel vs. Capcom was a great game.
That, yeah. Fighting games are easy because you just like, yeah, no, that doesn't count.
It does.
yeah.
Marvel vs. Capcom is an amazing game.
It is
for the
absolutely an
record,
amazing game.
and I'm super pissed that they aren't coming out with a new one.
Well, because you either have that or you have something that the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games where it kind of just feels very uninspired and Spider-Man feels.
It's just like a dungeon crawler type.
Yeah,
thing.
she feels just like Captain America. Like you don't really get to capture like the individuality of each hero. So
Well, there's no story. It's just like here's power. It's like a Lego game.
yeah,
It's like,
something
oh,
like
you
that.
can break these blocks with laser eyes. It's like, all right, but how do you get these laser eyes? But yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I was really excited about the Crash.
Hey, you called that too, didn't you? That's not one of your predictions.
I called it sorta. I said
Yeah.
that they'd come out with a new IP, but I still think they will come with a new IP. I think
Or you mean a new game?
I'm not a new IP. Sorry, a new game.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of a way of testing the waters,
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like too.
and it worked. That was like one of the biggest stories. Like everyone's losing their shit.
Yeah, people are
including
super
me.
jacked about it.
I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
Yeah.
Like I get to play Warped again. Warped was like so good.
So it's,
like,
it's
Warped is an
the
amazing
first
game.
3 games, right?
Correct. Yes.
And they
which
said
were the
that
first 3 good ones.
The key word was like remastered from the ground up. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting something along the lines of like the recent Ratchet and Clank game, which was it's not exactly
yeah.
a remaster. It was kind of a new game, but it was also a remake. And so I don't
Right.
know if it'd be that good of a like graphical fidelity, but who knows? Who knows?
I was
It's not gonna
expecting
look as
something along the
sloppy as,
lines-
like, the PS1 one. So
Right.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be really. I think it's going to run smoother. I don't think it's going to be like a Final Fantasy VII remake or
Oh
anything
god,
like
I
that.
hope not. Like,
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go that far, but I
Make it
think
dark and
that
gritty.
yeah,
Well, I think that was a game that kind of came that so much of what that game was formed by the era it was created in. Because I know, like you and I were looking into it. Like part of the reason that game is like so tight, and the way that you see it is you can only fit so many polygons on a screen at one time.
Well, we
And
watched
makes
that
the game-
video
yeah,
explaining it.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a video explaining why that game was so fundamentally amazing. It wasn't because they did so much with the technology that they had in that era.
Yeah.
But once the technology comes to a point where, well, anyone can do it, what makes that stand out anymore?
Well, yeah, that was kind of what they were getting at. But like also like now that they no longer have that limitation, how does that change what Crash is? What are they going to do with it?
Like the triangle and stuff
yeah,
like
is
that.
it does
character
like
design.
does making it like a bigger, wider game sort of rob it of that personality? Like you don't know exactly what we're going to
Well,
get. So
we'll
I would
see.
kind of like to have those games sort of shined up and just preserved how they were. To be completely
I think
honest.
that's what they're going to do,
Yeah.
honestly. I think it'll be kind of like what they did with Wind Waker.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like Wind Waker, it was the same fucking game. They just changed the color,
Made it
made it
look
run
super, super,
smoother.
super
It looked beautiful.
they added a
Like,
few
I think that's one of the
new,
best
like, quality
remakes.
of life enhancements.
Yeah, but they didn't change anything
No,
about the
nothing
fundamental
about
of
the
the
core
game.
gameplay was altered.
Right.
exactly.
And I think and also hope that's what they're gonna do. So I don't. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I already said I'm really excited about ukulele. I mean, really, those are the 2 that I was really excited about. I will say one thing. I don't know who called out the PS4 VR. I think we kind of all did. Obviously, the virtuality being a big part of the new.
yeah, we talked about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
this
Yeah,
is the
I mean,
first E3 where
obviously it
virtual reality
was.
very popular.
They had a virtual porn booth. Pretty
yeah,
cool.
I watched a few videos about that. Very interesting. Apparently, the line for that was
Cool.
longer than most any of the other games in the entire conference, in the entire
Well,
I'm not
area.
surprised by that.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Even a little
porn.
bit.
I mean, what do you
Yeah.
expect?
Yeah.
But I will say one thing I thought was funny was apparently there was a VR for Resident Evil,
Yes.
and everyone like I watched this YouTuber Northern Lion, and he went to E3 and he was just like, I watched this video on it, and literally he was just like. Yeah, I've never been a Resident Evil fan, but I played this on VR. It brought a new thing to me. I'm like, I was actually, okay, I could get onto this. And it was a great game, but small caveat, I got a huge headache and felt nauseous during the entire time. And I'm thinking, that's a pretty big fucking
Oh,
deal.
yeah,
though.
it's a
yeah.
huge problem.
That's a massive idea.
But
And, I
this-
mean, problem.
This isn't a problem
What?
with VR though, because I mean it's a problem with the software because there are plenty of first-person VR games that are not making people sick. It's just for this one in particular, whether it's the frame
Right.
rate or the fact that you're controlling movement with an analog stick when you're sitting still.
When you're sitting down,
Yeah.
which is going to give you motion sickness because your mind thinks you're moving forward when you're
Yeah,
actually
you're getting
physically.
2 different kind of stimulators.
Right, and I honestly don't know how to fix that. I don't give a fuck about VR. I still don't.
Yeah, it's still because
I'm not excited about it.
Have you
'Cause that
guys
demo-
tried VR?
I have not.
Okay, so
Well, sorta
It's-
in the past, but I haven't tried like new VR.
it's
let's
one
say
of
that.
I have recently tried it. It's one of those things where you don't really know. There's no way to like describe how it is until you've tried it. And as far as like the potential for games goes, it does seem to be focusing on like experiences rather than something with very complex gameplay mechanics.
Right, and that's
that's
obviously,
that's
yeah.
inherently less interesting to you, Cody, right? Like you're more interested in things that have a lot of gameplay elements to them. But
Absolutely.
I went to recently GameStop. There was like 6 stores in the U.S. that were having like an early VR demo, and then just yesterday actually it opened up to a bunch of Best Buys nationwide.
Oh,
Anyways,
cool.
so I went to a GameStop, and you get like a 7-minute demo with the PSVR, and there's supposed to be like 5 games you could pick from the PlayStation VR Worlds like launch game. It's kind of like the Wii Sports for the VR.
Okay. Yeah.
My GameStop only had 2 choices available. There was the one in which you submerge into the ocean and you're in a cage. And like you just kind of you look around. I don't know the name of it, but there's not much gameplay to it. You just kind of look around. I didn't choose that one because I wanted to be able to use the Move controllers. So I picked the one that was it was called London Heist. It was the only other one I could.
I've heard about that one.
Yeah. So this was pretty cool. So like you just kind of let me give you my thoughts about the actual headset itself. It's really light, extremely comfortable. Once you put it on, it's like it's not there. There's no like front heavy feeling to it. There's nothing like uncomfortable about it, at least to me. My girlfriend didn't have any problems with it either. When I first started looking through it, you kind of like you have to do this thing where you hold a lever and you like push it towards your face, like the goggle part of it. And the further you push it towards your face, it gets clearer. So you kind of press it as much as like towards your face as possible, so you can get it as clear as possible. But you hit this point where it's not that clear. It's a bit blurry.
It's just focusing.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just focusing in it.
Well, but it never focuses perfectly, and whether or not that's the resolution of it, not quite hitting like. I mean, I believe that the resolution it hits is like 720p. I could be wrong, but but I think that the other headsets have higher resolution. Like the HTC Vive, for instance, or the Oculus.
Right. Well, that's also what $200-$300 more, I think.
Exactly.
Because
But anyway, so I put it on and it's a bit blurry, and I'm like, at first I'm like, oh wow, this is kind of weird, like because you're looking at text on the main menu and everything, and you're looking around, and it's a bit blurry, and that was a problem at first, but after like a minute, you completely forget about it. It's not a problem at all. But one of the first things I noticed just in the main menu was that moving around your head, it is true like one-to-one motion. There's zero lag, and it's kind of like you have to experience it. Like as far as moving your head around, it's really cool. The fact that it feels one-to-one, and that like, I mean, it's like you're in a new space. But then I started playing the game, and that's when things got really interesting. So it's called London Heist, and I'm in the, you just start in the passenger of a car that had just like you've just stolen some diamonds with a friend, and you're running away, and you get attacked by their like motorcyclists and other cars, like they're shooting at you and everything. But you just kind of start out in the car first, and you're just sitting there, and there's no action yet. But you're just kind of looking around, and you have the Move controllers, and they function as your hands. And one of the things I could not.
I that just feels so weird to me. Like
instead of your hands, you have
are your hands.
Yeah.
See, cause stuff like that. Because the closer you get to reality, the more the things that aren't reality stick out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
would you rather have gloves?
Well, no. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, because if you're like, oh, I'm in this world, never mind, I am not in this world, sort of thing. And I don't know. That's what always kind of throws me off about VR, because like, there's no feedback to when you touch or interact with anything. So it's stuff like that.
Well, I believe the Move controllers do have some slight vibrations. I think I could be wrong. But there is a point where you're like firing guns, and if I remember correctly, there is a slight vibration to kind of make it feel. Or maybe I'm just so used to like firing guns having vibrations that I've forgotten. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you just kind of it's weird, right? Like you would think, like, before trying, you would think, oh, I have these kind of weird trigger like pull things in my hands, and those are supposed to represent my hands. Like, that doesn't really feel right.
Yeah.
But when you're in the game and you can move them and grab stuff, and like I'm like pulling down the visor in the car, and I'm like opening up like compartments, and like I'm grabbing like a can of soda and just like throwing it to the guy next to me. One of the things that surprised me most is like that you just can't describe to anyone. Like you have to just experience it. But when you're there, like the way that like perspective is, like, everything is so big, but like just compared to when you're seeing it on the TV, everything is so big, and you have the peripheral vision it really goes a long way into selling the immersion, because you feel like you're in that car because of the size of everything is so to scale, like to what you'd expect being in a real car. And one of the things I was thinking before I put the headset on was like, I'm going to be kind of a little worried about, I'm going to look like a freak, like just sitting there, like waving my hands about. But once you're there in the car and you feel like you're there, I completely just forgot about anything else. I was just playing the game, and I just didn't care.
So you weren't self-conscious. Yeah.
Exactly. No, not at all. Because it stopped feeling like there are obvious things that are like, okay, this is a game, but the way that it immerses you in it was kind of incredible, while still like the move controllers, like there were some flaws where like maybe it didn't detect the hand movement right, and so like your hand twitched about, because it lost sight of the sensor for a second. You know what I mean?
Get the old wobbly hand. Yeah.
It can be a bit wonky in that regard. I hear that the HTC Vive controllers are a lot more reliable, and but I don't. It was just so much fun, because like you're able to do things that like you wouldn't expect
you could do in real life.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I know, you just have if you guys are around a Best Buy
But
doing these demos.
What part of that was an actual game is what I want to know.
Okay, so
I can throw a can on the ground right fucking now.
Okay, I know. I was just describing it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just describing the pre-action part. But then, then people start driving and shooting at you, and the guy you're sitting next to like hands you a gun, and like he points you towards like the bag of clips that you got, and he says, "Okay, you got to start shooting these guys now." So you're not moving around, you're just sitting in a car, or the car is moving. And so it's not tricking your brain, because your brain is used to like moving in cars without like actually moving your feet.
Right.
So that part, there's no motion sickness, but you are traversing. Anyways, so people start shooting at you, and you grab the gun, and you're just shooting at the people that are coming by. And there's nothing like truly innovative about just that in general, besides like just the fact that you have that freedom of movement, and it's a lot of fun just shooting people with moving your hands in a space. It's not like the Wiimote where it's so detached because like you're pointing at a TV. You can point anywhere, and to reload you got to grab the clips and put it in your gun, right? And you don't have to look at the clips to grab them or look at the gun to put it in there. You could like do that off. You could just do it by knowing where it is in your space. Do you understand what I mean?
That's kind of interesting.
That's cool.
The way that it's just kind of that intuitiveness was just really cool and surprising to me. But like I was able to do things like open the car door while we're driving, look behind me outside the car door, and just shoot the people behind me, and just doing stuff like that. It was just really cool, and it surprised me. It's really going to depend on the software.
Everything you're saying is cool. I could see me doing it once and then never again.
Well, here's the thing with me. I understand its potential and all that cool stuff. I understand that Levi really likes it, but it was kind of like what we were talking about before about like fitting gaming into your life, and like I don't
gotta strap on all your gear.
I don't know if that fits necessarily into my life very well, and maybe not a thing for me, because like that same demo that they were talking about, that Resident Evil demo, I played that, and I played it with my girlfriend, sitting there in the dark and being all spooky and all that kind of stuff, and that was
a shared experience.
That was a shared experience that I couldn't have absorbed that game and had as or
Or
at
the same
least-
thing with Nicole.
Yeah, not had. I was gonna say have as good experience, but not had that particular experience if I was using VR, which because of how my life is set up right now doesn't fit necessarily nice into it.
But in the
But you're
future,
talking
yeah,
about a
when
game
you're actually
that
forced-
was built for the PS4 with added VR functionality. You're not talking
enough.
about a game that
Yeah.
was built for the VR. So
Yeah.
But
there are
everything
experiences that
I've
will not be able to be replicated outside of the VR. Like just
Yeah, like the Batman one they showed looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would be something I'd kind of be into.
and as,
My whole argument against VR is we've come so far from Pac-Man to I don't know, Resident Evil. You know what I mean? Like we've come so far graphically. We've come so far in ways that we can play games, that we can experience them. Why the fuck would you make something that limits you to every game being like Pokemon Snap, where you can't get out of one spot? That is my argument.
Well,
Until they fix that, I
it's-
will not be interested in
Well,
it.
I think that fix is coming. I don't know exactly
How?
I don't know, man.
I mean,
They'll
I've seen the
figure it out.
giant rigs where you can walk around on that disc and you're like
Yeah.
held in place.
but-
But where the fuck is someone gonna fit that?
That's also like a $10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
That's my argument to
you
it.
do not need the those huge like circular treadmill things. You know what I mean? There are
Right.
the HTC Vive. Like if you have the room for it, with the HTC Vive you set like little sensors up in 2 corners of the room, and then you kind of with the Steam VR application or whatever, you kind of use the controller to draw out your space. Like virtually, you walk around your room
Okay,
drawing out the area that you can walk around.
pause. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you my fucking living room, and I'm gonna. I'm sorry if you're listening to this on audio, but we're gonna go ahead and.
You're plugged in. Careful.
Where the fuck? Where the fuck?
Okay, that's
Where am I
why
supposed to put this
I don't see
Okay,
what you're
that's
showing
the
right now, but I'm
podcast.
just imagining it to be very small.
I am
and
a
limited.
normal goddamn person with a tiny ass living room. I don't have room.
And I
Okay.
just talked about how I live in a broom closet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But only the HTC Vive, and I don't know much about the Oculus, but I think the Oculus might do something similar too. But those are the type of headsets that allow you to move around for certain games.
Yeah.
But the PSVR is solely focused on a sit down, just movement of the head and like neck and a torso experience. It's not like get up and move around. So with the PSVR, you do not need like any additional space.
Yeah.
And there's
And as
We'll see.
far as like as a pure presentation element,
It's cool.
it's pretty cool.
I'm not gonna argue that.
Yeah.
Because I will say, I remember when I was like 12 or 13, my parents would always go to casinos, and I'd go
Yeah.
with them. And
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all have been to a casino when you're younger. There's actually like play places for you to
Yeah.
go to. And I remember this one place had this. It wasn't VR, but it was a shooting game. So you'd have like a little gun,
Yeah.
right? Like you had the physical gun,
Yeah.
and there were sensors on you, and you could like dodge and duck behind things
Yeah.
and shoot. That was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like I could did that. That was novel. I had a lot of fun with it. But outside of that realm, until they can figure out the movement, I'm just not sold.
I mean,
Personally.
I'm kind of agnostic about it, to be completely honest.
I'm excited to
But
see where it goes.
Yeah.
I really am. Like
It's-
I'm not
it's
just
kinda
writing it
fascinating
off.
to watch from the outside.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
something
writing
that-
it off. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I'm not investing for a very long time.
Yeah,
I would kind of actually, yeah.
I would suggest
Go ahead.
like you guys not to write it off until you at least try it. Try a demo, because there's really no way to fully understand like how it feels and how cool it is. And of course
Right.
it could depend on the person too, but everyone at least I was with like at the demo I went to, everyone was really like excited about the potential and kind of surprised at how immersive it was, even though there are like very noticeable flaws with it. Because we are in the early stages of VR, so things aren't perfect.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah.
And of course, the graphical fidelity isn't there either. But something about having that movement, just like 1-to-1, and the kind of the having the peripheral vision there, and just having the scale be lifelike. Something about that is kind of special, and it's very different than what I've ever experienced before, just playing games on a TV.
Yeah.
Now, on the PlayStation version, can you view porn?
I'm sure. Well, I don't know, because it would have to be something.
That's a selling point.
Yeah.
It would have to be something
have to go Oculus.
that was. Wouldn't it have to be
Compatible
approved
with
by
the
Sony in
PlayStation.
some way? Like, and I'm sure that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
could
it has to
do
be
that.
licensed, yeah.
But as far as like the Naughty America,
they're
which I
gonna.
believe was what it was called, Naughty America was the booth at E3 with the VR porn. I don't think they've announced any PSVR compatibility yet. But
That's
who
gonna
knows?
they're gonna
Who knows?
lose so much money if they don't do that. I don't see Sony copping
Well,
out of that. They
Sony's
have
not
to.
going to get up, in their press conference and announce something like that. So
Right? No, it's gonna be hush hush. I get that.
That would
but they're gonna lose
that
so
would've
much
been-
money.
I would have been so
Wouldn't
happy.
that be strange?
If
Yeah, but
the stuffy
just
white
stuff-
men go up there and like,
now what we've all been waiting for, porn, and then like a
Boom.
giant
yeah.
curtain comes
That's
out.
like- but I would kind of like to talk about the game that made that feller nauseous, and the Resident Evil.
Resident
demo.
Evil?
Yeah.
What, the movement or just the weird everything about
Well,
it?
there was also there's a few different factors like in play here, right?
Yeah.
Like for one thing, you're in an environment that may just make people sick, like because it's a haunted house area. There are like gross things around, and like it's just generally scary. For another thing, the frame rate is not solid. I think they're hitting 60 frames per second, which for headsets like the Oculus and the HTC Vive, then the minimum frame rate that they want their games to be for those headsets is 90 frames per second. But for PSVR, the minimum frame rate is 60 frames per second because they're dealing with
Okay.
less powerful hardware. 60 frames per
Yeah.
second was just fine in like what I played. It was just fine. There was no I felt zero motion sickness. There's like this bit
Yeah.
like there's this weird feeling in your head at first, like that's like where you are in a space but you're not, and it's just a bit weird at first, but I had no problems with motion sickness. But if you had any frame rate dips, like if you quickly look to the right but it kind of lags, like your brain's gonna be like no, and things are gonna
Barf.
go wrong.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking
Well,
it's happening with Resident Evil 7, plus the movement.
Yeah, but I just kind of want to talk about the game.
The game is-
Yeah,
I'm
because-
sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't know, if you're a musician, you don't go out and cover a bunch of Nirvana and John Lennon songs and stuff like that, because
mixed, but all right. Go on.
because those are very distinctive voices. Those are like
Okay,
legends.
okay.
Those are things that you really can't replicate because they're beautiful things in themselves.
Right.
I thought it was a very, very dumb idea to try to go out and replicate PT.
Yeah.
Because PT was such a completely unique and flash in the pan, beautiful moment in gaming. And if you go, we're a beautiful moment too, and then you're like, then people are gonna go, no, you're not. You're just an ugly.
Get out of here, Black Eyed Peas. You're not.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it was neat, but it was
weird.
The entire time you're playing it, you're like, man, this is really not as good as PT. Like the entire time you're playing, to the point that it's distracting. And did you play it, Levi? I know you didn't play it.
I didn't play it, no. And I also never
No.
got to play PT. Because by the time
Oh.
I got a PS4, it had been removed. So that's
already
one of those things where it's
died
like...
its death, yeah.
like
Did you at least watch something on it though?
I have,
you
yeah.
watch it?
I've
Someone
watched
play through it?
gameplay. It
Yeah.
looks incredible, yeah.
Yeah. But like, there are so many kind of cool, unique things about it in its own right. Like, there's a very cool mechanic in it. So let me sum it up to you guys so you understand where I'm coming from with it. Okay, so basically you wake up in the spooky house, and the only direction you're given is get out of the house. And it's basically three.
It's like PT.
Yeah, it's 3 or 4 connected rooms that you can navigate your way through.
Okay.
And you can pick up stuff and navigate stuff. You pick up stuff that you don't necessarily use. So it's like, there's a finger from a mannequin that you can pick up that, as of the recording of this episode, no one has found a function for.
Okay.
So that you just pick it up and have it. There's an axe that you can pick up and do literally nothing with. So one of the cool things about it is there is a sense of mystery to it. Like, there's still stuff left to be discovered, and Capcom has said you guys haven't figured everything else out yet. So that is a very cool element to it. But it's over in about 10 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really quick, and it's very, very incoherent. Like, to the point where, like, so I woke up and then a man punches me and it's over. Like, it feels very pointless, and it doesn't feel like it's telling you a story. I don't feel intrigued to learn more about this
Which
world.
is the whole point of that.
I feel like they're like, let's go make PT, and they didn't understand why PT was made. Like, PT got everyone so excited about Silent Hills because it was such a cool, fun, unique, and it was like looking at the very tip of something bigger and more beautiful.
Really,
just
that
feels like
is
you
everyone
just-
had a different experience when they played it, which to me was like,
Yeah.
that's fucking cool.
Yeah, and to its credit, it does kind of have that a little bit. You can kind of do things in different orders. You can get different endings. It's not really different endings. It's the same ending being triggered in different rooms,
Okay.
which is not as interesting as it sounds. And
Yeah.
there's the one legitimately cool mechanic is at one point of the game, you find a tape. And you put it in, and you put it in a player, and then you play through what's on that tape. And the tape obviously takes place in the past, so you can manipulate things in the future by playing them in the past. But you can do literally one thing with that. It's like you can unlock a thing in the past, and then you go back and it's unlocked.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat, but it's super, super underexplored. Like, so they had one unique thing, and they literally used it to turn a key. So I don't know. I want to be excited for Resident Evil because Resident Evil is like Final Fantasy. When it's good,
It's really good.
really
but when
good.
it's bad, it's
when it's bad, it's
garbage dumpster fire. It's bad.
It's cringeworthy when it's bad.
It's really
It's,
bad.
it's really difficult to get through.
Yeah.
So I got excited when I first saw like the trailer for it. Ooh, we're going back to spooky Resident Evil.
Right.
And then I got my hands on spooky Resident Evil. And like, I don't think Resident Evil remembers how to be spooky Resident Evil.
When was the last spooky Resident Evil?
Like where it was like legitimately a horror game.
Yeah.
Code Veronica.
Yeah.
That was like 2002, pulling down.
Yeah,
my
and then they
ass.
went all
yeah.
action game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to its credit, Resident Evil 4 was great.
Oh, Resident Evil was good, really good, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a horror game.
Yeah,
It's like saying Dead Space was a horror game.
Yeah, which is fine. Things can evolve to different things.
Yeah,
But
no,
that's
I had a
fine.
lot- I had a blast.
Yeah. If they're gonna go back to that though, like I don't have a whole lot of faith based off that demo that it's gonna turn into anything.
So, was it the type of demo where it felt like this is like part of the first mission, or was it kind of like it wasn't a vertical slice of the game? It was more of like this
No.
was created for like for
proof of
selling
concept
audiences.
thing.
Yeah, okay. So it was kind of a
Yeah.
concept demo or like a tech demo almost, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like PT was, but PT, from what it seems like, it managed to be a complete experience, but this was not to you. It was
Yeah, it
clearly
was
lacking
super
in a lot of
unsatisfying.
ways. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is unfortunate. It does kind of feel like they're hopping on a trend, or hopping off of the success of PT, but they're not. They didn't understand what made PT work, like you said.
Yeah,
and-
exactly. And I do like the idea that people are making their announcements interactive and playable. I love that because the idea of like rather than have a trailer, like here is a very very small section of the game of something attached to the game to play through.
Right.
Like that is awesome.
Yeah.
I think if that was
Especially if
also
it's
the
not like a
standard,
paid beta.
yeah,
Some bullshit like that.
if that was actually like the standard for how we release video games to the public, I think that'd be really cool. One, we'd probably get things announced a lot closer to when they're actually coming out, which it would be freaking nice. So I don't have to spend 10 years waiting for Last Guardian. But
Well, not only that, I think that, like, when you see a movie, you see a trailer, you experience bits of the movie. And like, oh, I like that vibe, I'm going to go see that movie. They try to do that with video games. It doesn't work because you don't watch a video game, you play a video game. So if you think about it, it's only right that you get to play a tiny, I'm talking like 10 minutes is fine.
Yeah,
Hey, you like this? We'll give you more of this. It's not a cinematic trailer. It's not bullshit. This is what it is.
I
I'm down with
really
that.
miss demos. Like
Yeah.
I really do. Like I used to. I was one of those kids growing up. Like the disc would come with PC
Yep.
Gamer every
And I
month.
play every
and you play every
fucking
single
thing.
one,
Yep.
and you end up buying a lot of those games to
Yep.
get your hand on it.
I did the exact same thing.
Well,
Yeah,
they're
and-
kind of coming back. I mean, they did that thing with Doom, just kind of allowing everyone to play
Which was awesome.
the first
Yeah.
mission for free, which is that's awesome.
Backfired, but
Yeah.
it was cool. And you
Yeah.
know, we bought it like literally
Yeah, we did.
at, like
Yeah.
the day that came out. We're like, okay, I like this. Multiplayer's whatever, but I like the setting. I like
Yeah.
the feel. We bought it. It worked.
Yeah,
So-
it's so much easier to sell a game like because you get hyphy. You do
Yeah.
like ooh, I saw a game.
Oh, this is so cool.
And in an era where you could instantly buy something, that is super
Overwatch.
effective.
Exact same thing. Granted,
Yeah.
I was gonna buy it regardless.
Yeah.
But we played it. We're like,
We played one round.
there
and
was
then
like three
all
of us
tabbed out and bought
you
it.
and Jose both bought it, and then like a couple minutes later, I'm like, I bought it, and I'm like, I want these skins. We all bought the $60 version.
Yeah,
Oh,
like we literally
nice.
all tabbed out of the beta to buy it.
Yeah.
and the fact that it's not,
It's not
because if I had played, let's say because if I had played PT and then been able to go and pre-order Silent Hills like right after, I absolutely would have.
I think a lot of people would.
Yeah. So I think that is kind of a neat little trick or kind of a mind game that you can play.
I get why it kind of fell out during the like early 2000s and 90s because like you're sure on PC it's easy. You just go to Steam and you're like download it. But back in the day you didn't get to download games on like your PlayStation 2 or what have you. But nowadays
Dead Space,
everyone downloads. So really there's no excuse for them not to do it. Even on consoles,
absolutely.
you could do the exact same shit. So,
Yeah, on PS2 they had those magazines with the discs.
Right. It was clunky and kind of dumb, but it worked. I mean, I still played.
Yeah, but like I said, that combination of being able to instantly buy anything.
Yeah.
Like I think that is.
In today's era, there's really no excuse not to. I mean, yeah, unless you got something to hide.
Yeah.
If you're not confident in your game.
Were there any other games that totally caught you by surprise on E3?
For me, I was just in general just very impressed with Sony's conference. I thought that it just kind of blew all the other conferences out of the water. Game after game that was just really impressing me. Specifically, God of War. I mean, they opened with that
good.
absolutely amazing music, the orchestra, the live orchestra they had there. Which ended up being the theme for God of War, the main theme for this one. And this one, they're not titling it God of War 4. They're doing that thing again where they just title it God of War. But yeah, I mean, it seems
looks really cool.
It looks great, and it seems like they're kind of going the Last of Us inspiration route where they throw in a child for dramatic depth. They kind of change the camera angle. It's now more up close and personal, and the character movement seems like weighty, kind of like Last of Us had. And there's also like a lot of conversation and exploring through the beautiful environments, you know what I mean, where they're just talking to each other. Like that's not a thing that at least through gameplay of previous God of Wars, that's not a thing I've seen. That's a very like kind of like Uncharted Last of Us feel. As a big fan of Last of Us, I'm not complaining at all. The combat, the combat doesn't look as tight as previous games, but that's probably just a side effect of trying to make it more cinematic.
And that was kind of the thing that like stuck out the most to me, and I felt got really passed over when this game got talked about kind of in the wider media, and that it looks like a completely functionally different game.
Oh yeah,
because like because those first 3 God of Wars were all about these big arena spaces where you could be like really like big, fast, wide, not necessarily super accurate combat. And now this one is like this really tight, over-the-shoulder, weighty, visceral, close combat.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
It's going like the Tomb Raider Last of Us route.
It's cool. I mean, it's the first God of War that I've seen that... I don't give a shit about God of War, I'll be honest. I mean, it's Sony only. Who gives a fuck?
Because that's what really frustrates me about it. Because I know where you're coming from, and you have that hang-up about exclusives. But, like, God of War is, like... It is your game.
I get it.
I wish you could play it.
I know.
It's all about that
one, I
super
love
machismo,
Norse mythology.
Yeah.
I fucking love Norse mythology. And it looks so cool. But I'm still not going to give a fuck. Because it's Sony only. Give me a break.
Yeah.
It's 2016. Fuck you. Like, I don't... It's a principle thing.
You're super pissed about the exclusive stuff.
Exclusives are fucking stupid. Halo should be all around. That's fucking stupid. It's stupid.
It's business.
It's a dumb business plan. They don't make as much money.
It's not as stupid as you think, because like it would be like, well, everyone should get to make Marvel movies. Not just Disney and Marvel Studios.
No,
because like
because that would be like, you know what? Only Asian people can watch the Marvel movie.
No,
that's the same thing.
You can't buy your way into being Asian. It's more like only people with
oh my god.
Only people with like a specific player can watch Marvel movies at home. Like, you know what I mean? It'd be kind of more like that.
Because your argument is anyone should be able to produce any game. My argument, no, any person should be able to experience that game.
It's about owning your property. Like, they own those properties, they own those studios.
I get it.
Well, it's the same thing without Sony. So
I want Pokemon to be... I want Nintendo to let go of Pokemon so I can have a fucking console game of Pokemon, because God knows they're not going to do it. I know none of these things are going to happen. I'm aware. I get it, and I get why they do that. It's what keeps them in business. But it still frustrates me as a consumer.
And you know what? Maybe I'm I don't get pissed off by it because I've kind of cheated the system.
Well, you have a PlayStation
because you have a
too,
PlayStation and
Yeah.
a PC, and that covers literally pretty much everything. I don't get to play Halo,
cares?
Gears of War.
Here's a word
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Especially the new
so-
one. New one looks sick.
So
The new one looks
yeah,
like
so
Gears of War. It does not look like it's doing anything different.
No, and that's fine. Give
But
me more
yeah,
Gears
it's
of War.
fine for the fans.
I don't give a
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
See, that's just so frustrating, man. Because if you like Gears of War, like you'd love God of War.
I get it.
It's the
But
same
I'm not gonna
themes
buy
that
a
we're-
PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm never honestly. I doubt I'll ever buy a console again.
Yeah, I thought about
Console
that too.
gaming, fuck it. I might buy a
thought about that,
Nintendo just because I love a lot of Nintendo properties. I think a lot of people do.
those are-
That's
That's exclusive too. But like, yeah, that's the
true.
that's the point you're willing to go to. Like for Nintendo, you would
Well-
buy a console, but not for these Sony
No.
exclusives.
I get where you're coming from. No, the reason I buy a Nintendo is because my wife also likes Nintendo games, and that's something
Okay.
we can spend time
Yeah.
on the couch
Yeah.
together. I'm not gonna spend time on the couch with my wife fucking playing God of War. Okay.
I think you should. I know your wife. I think she'd be into it. but the Nintendo thing is interesting too. I guess I sat down and thought about that because I'm literally going to spend possibly up to $400 just to play Zelda.
You're not.
But it
Do you
looks
have a
Yeah.
Wii U?
I don't have a Wii U. I completely skipped the Wii U.
Okay, so you're just gonna
Oh,
go
are
to
you
the
gonna-
NX
You're just
and
gonna
play
go
Zelda
to
on
the
that.
NX?
Okay.
Yeah, because
I'll do.
because it's like God, I love Zelda that much. I will literally buy a Zelda box, and I'll play that
I think-
Zelda, and maybe if they make another Zelda for NX, I'll play that
They probably
too.
will.
And I guess, and maybe Metroid, though I'm not convinced they'll ever make a Metroid game again. I'm really not. So
We'll see.
yeah, so we'll see.
I think let them get out of the slump
Yeah.
and then judge.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Because right now they're in a slump. I don't think anyone's going to deny that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for their handheld, there's a good chance they might be out of business,
Yeah.
or they would have sold a lot of their.
or they'd have
commodities
to change a lot of how they do business.
Right. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way. Maybe
Yeah.
not out of business, but they would be a lot different company if their handhelds weren't so fucking good.
Yeah.
Um,
So, but
I don't know. Well, I'm.
well, you and I have
stoked
talked. You and I
with
have talked
Zelda.
about that before. How we kind of wish they'd get out of the console market. To be completely honest.
Yeah, and just make games.
Yeah.
They make some of the best fucking games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and what makes Nintendo so goddamn unique is that they don't just make games. They make games for all ages, and they're good at all ages.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda is still good. Anyone could play any Mario game
and have a
goddamn blast.
Yeah.
And I mean, God of War, that's not geared towards everyone. Halo's
No.
not geared towards everyone.
Which is also fine.
It's fine. I'm
targeting
not.
people, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
throwing shade at those
Yeah.
companies. I'm just saying nobody makes a game like Nintendo.
Absolutely. And
At all.
they seem fun. Like this Zelda game coming out is completely different than
It's
any
beautiful.
other Zelda game we've
and
ever
it has
made
like
before.
a fucking like health system you have to eat.
You
and
have to
shit.
eat and get cold.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I love that. It's like it has major RPG things mixed in a Zelda game. Sign me up.
And it's got
cool as fuck.
like a weird Half-Life 2 like dependency on physics.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks like a really cool game. It's completely different than any other Zelda, yet still very much a Zelda game.
Right.
And it's so laden with creativity and experimentation. Like
It's beautiful. The
it's
colors.
so
are
excited.
beautiful.
people yeah.
So
Yeah.
excited. You could use your
Um,
freaking shield as a board to slide down hills, and that kind of alleviates the
Yeah,
pain
like-
I had from not getting a Skate 4 announcement.
Wait. Okay. Did you guys see who was it? There was somebody that was. There's somebody outside of E3. I forget who it was. I think it was a YouTuber holding up like a sign that said they were like trying to get a petition going or some shit about make Tony Hawk great again.
I did see
It
that.
had like a hat. You didn't see that?
I know I
I
did.
see that.
I did see that.
Oh, you did see that? That's
Yeah.
the
That was
funniest
great.
shit. Like, make Tony Hawk great again.
Yeah.
It's true. Give us a good skate game. It could be skate, it could be Tony Hawk. I don't give a shit. Just give
Well, they
us a good
have
game.
that.
Like-
They have that game Steep, which when I saw the trailer,
that's-
I was like,
that open world
I was like,
thing?
this
Yeah,
looks
I
cool.
didn't
Like
know about that.
snowboarding, skiing, gliding, or what? What is it? Hang.
Oh, so it's just everything?
Well,
yeah, but it's like an
have you
open
guys seen
world
the
game
trailer
where you
for
can,
it?
like, navigate around it.
No, I haven't.
I've heard about it. I haven't
Okay.
watched any media.
So yeah, it's Ubisoft, and it's like just all about like kind of like snow sports, but there's also like I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's like the hang gliding or like they get in the wingsuits, you know what I mean? And they're just kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
like
scroll suits, yeah.
Cool.
they're just gliding around. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, there's a specific
Yeah.
word
Yeah.
for it. Anyway, so seeing the trailers, like, oh, this looks really cool. It's like first person skiing and snowboarding and everything. I'm like, oh, that could be really cool. But all the gameplay impressions I read was that like it's just kind of a rough experience and just not as polished as like you'd want that type of game to be. You know,
Well,
something like Skate had that polish with the mechanics to where it felt really good to skate around. But if it doesn't feel good and it just kind of feels janky, then it ruins
if there's
all of
not a secret videotape to find on each level, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Well, I do love. That's why I always gravitated towards Tony Hawk. I just love the arcadey, over the top, crazy.
It didn't take itself seriously. It was a great game. It was functionally arguably the best out of the two, but it never took it had. Like
playful.
To this day, I will say no game has a better soundtrack than Tony Hawk.
Oh, absolutely.
Ever. It's
Yeah.
not even fucking close.
As far as like just listening to soundtrack.
Yeah, I actually bought the CDs of each one because
Yeah.
there were some good tracks on there,
there's some
man.
legit music,
Like there was
yeah.
so like a lot of my music growing up, like in the punk rock era, like a lot of my like roots, as dumb as this sounds, like Hot Topic, Look at Me, I'm Cool.
Yeah.
Like were based on some of the soundtracks of those games. Like, and I know I'm not the only one.
It is kind of the soundtrack of a certain point in my life.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, and I associate so much. Like I'll hear a song, I'm like, I remember that song from that soundtrack, and it takes me back to that time in my life where I played a retarded amount of Tony Hawk, the first one on my.
But the second one was mine.
Yeah, I
that
played
was my shit.
incredibly, like days and days of that stuff. But I don't know. I kind of feel like I might be done with skating games, though. I don't know. I'm not as passionate about them as you guys.
You say that. I mean,
they just need to make a good one again. That's all. There hasn't been a good one for so long.
Make a good one.
Yeah, that might be it.
I'm not saying I'm gonna fucking just quit work and it's finally back. I'm gonna fucking yeah, bro, let's go. No,
I don't think we're like
it's not
hardcore
like
like
that.
skateboarding game
Yeah.
aficionados or whatever. So it's just kind of we like the games when they're good. And it's too bad that they're
fair
not
enough.
making them good
Get my
anymore.
gamer fuel.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I just need to be reminded about how much I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's just a fun game.
Yeah.
It's a fun game to play with friends. I miss games like that were fun.
The
to play
couch
with.
experiences?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't feel like they make games around that anymore.
That's
Well, no,
why
because like I'll come over here and we'll fire up the SNES and we'll play that forever and drink like that. We have to go back to that.
That's
to
what
have
I'm
that
saying. Like,
experience.
and I think that I'll kind of wrap it up here.
Yeah.
That's why I like Nintendo.
Yeah,
There are a lot of Nintendo games that they're still making that you could sit on a fucking couch and play with your friends.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I love
Which-
that.
Yeah, and I don't feel that Microsoft gives a shit about that. They're all about the online experience. I don't think Sony gives a shit about that. 'Cause they're all
No,
about the online
yeah,
experience.
and that's definitely the way industry's going. And
I think that's the way life
and
is,
again,
though.
like you and I love Overwatch. We love the online experience. Blah blah. But
I miss that. I don't know. We're old.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an
It-
old
it-
thing.
yeah, I
agree
Everyone's
with you
like,
guys,
I'll
though.
get on my Snapchat and fucking. No, I like the
I like the tactile
drinking a
handshake.
beer,
Yeah, yeah,
sitting on the
absolutely.
couch, just fucking off. Like
There's something
jacking
magical
each other
and
off.
special
Gay
about that.
sex. I want more gay sex on my couch. Is what I'm trying to get
I need
at.
more excuses to get close to that man.
But yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps up E3.
Yeah, man.
I
I'm
would
tired of
like
talking you
to
assholes.
quickly mention Horizon
Yeah.
Zero Dawn, which is very exciting to me. Just kind of this absolutely gorgeous post-apocalyptic kind of amalgamation between like Princess Mononoke and cybernetic dinosaurs. It looks awesome
What?
to me. Well, have you not
What did
seen
I
it?
miss? No.
No, you remember this from last year. This is at last year's E3.
Oh shit!
Yes,
yeah.
that one.
It was like a
Robot
mixture
dinosaurs.
of Ark and a mixture of like Skyrim or some shit.
had
Yeah,
this-
yeah,
It
it
was
was
super
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they had this whole gameplay demo. I don't know if you watched it, but you need to
What?
because the gameplay
Yeah.
looks really good. It's just really polished, really solid. The story on the other hand is kind of like it feels cliche. It's apparently being written by the lead writer for New Vegas and Shadow of Mordor. So the
Shadow of
results
Mordor
are
is
kind of
good.
like hit and miss. Like we don't know what we're gonna get there, but the
Yeah.
voice acting seems generic. But like just like the story stuff is not impressive. But the gameplay and just the mechanics, the RPG mechanics especially, it just looks really cool.
It's way more of an RPG than I thought it would be.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was
Do
going
you
to
get?
be. Yeah.
Do you get to? Is it like I don't know why I'm comparing it to Ark?
No,
but
because of dinosaurs.
because dinosaurs
Yeah.
in Ark.
Yeah.
that's about the only
Really
thing
fun.
comparable.
Yeah.
But do you
Maybe
get to like
crafting, too.
catch dinosaurs and have them as your pets?
I don't know. You can
quite.
hack them. I'm not exactly
You can
sure.
hack
how-
them to ride them around, but
Yeah.
But
I don't
will they
know
like
about any
fight for
pets.
you?
I don't.
See,
we don't know yet. We
Dumb
don't
as
know
that sounds, that's a huge selling point to me.
yet. Yeah.
Well,
If I can like train
turrets in like
dinosaurs-
Bioshock or something, like I'd imagine you could hack a dinosaur to fight for you, like, and then
Yeah.
quickly die.
That's a selling point. That's important, man. You need to
Yeah.
know these things in your
Well,
demos.
the big thing with that game that like I love when people kind of think outside the box, but as far as like where humanity and society is going to go in the future, and the idea that like we kind of unintentionally create sort of the next level of existence, and then there's this overlap from like this handoff from humans to
Technology.
like machines, and it mirrors like kind of our rise. So basically, like
That'd be cool.
yeah,
I get where you're going.
Yeah, we're kind of being evolved out. Like the early machines is like way still beyond us.
I do need to know, and I hope you do know. Is there character creation?
No, it's just that
Fuck!
Yeah,
I
I
wanted
think
to
you're
make Will
stuck.
Smith. I wanted to make Will Smith and just go around murking fucking dinosaurs, dude.
that's such a very strange thing. I don't even know where to
Great.
begin.
iRobot's
Save for the
so
sequel.
good.
Oh, trying to make an iRobot reference. Okay,
No,
Jesus.
whatever. Fuck off. You just described iRobot.
Okay. Well,
They're stopping
yeah,
it.
kind of, yeah. Well, no, because there's no. Where
You
were
don't
there
remember the
dinosaurs?
Robo
in that?
Dinosaurs in iRobot?
No, because there wasn't. Fucking jackass. All right, Cody's getting getting a little punchy, so we're gonna wrap this up. I think. You have anything else you want to say, Levi?
South Park: The Fractured Butthole looks great. I'm disappointed there was no
yeah.
Red Dead Redemption or a Red Dead sequel of any kind. And Death Stranding looks really cool, even though we're not going to see the game in years
Or maybe ever. I think.
or ever.
But yeah, I think by the time we see that, it will be almost unrecognizable.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
It
Yeah,
was
'cause-
just a cinematic. The game isn't even in production yet.
Yeah, he says it's like in pre-production right now.
Yeah.
Why even?
Because Kojima has a really weird obsession with Norman Reedus and whales. You needed to
That
combine those two again.
was super fucking weird.
It was very weird.
I had no idea. I saw butt,
Yep, we saw his
and
butt.
I saw
Virtual
land, and that's all I remember. Like
butt, and baby hands and tar.
games are weird.
I do look forward to playing in his brain again because it's fun, but it's going to be a while and it's not going to look anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to everyone who wants to wade through dead whales as
Okay.
Norman Reedus' naked body. All right, so let's get the hell out of here. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching us another episode of Thinking and Drinking. Make sure you're following me and Cody on Twitter. I'm at Wesco Kuenzi. He's at Close Barbecue. Don't follow Levi ever
Yeah,
anywhere.
Don't do it. Not worth it, guys.
Yep.
I'll do it.
If you're listening to us on iTunes or on SoundCloud or however the hell else we got this podcast out here, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, Video Game Time Machine, and subscribe over there and watch all the other cool stuff we are doing. All right, that's it. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye. I want to see like Transformers, but they're all in the shape of Michael Bay. They're just fighting each other.
The Michael Bay form. Every time they step or punch or touch anything, it explodes.
That's good shit. All right, can we get the show on the road?
Ah, fuck, I guess. What is up, nerds and nets? Welcome to an episode of Thinking and Drinking. Now, this week we're going to do things a